Alright guys, I want to welcome you all back to some more of the house in Fata Morgana. So currently right now we're trying to get the last two keys in order for us to climb up the observation tower and try to get back Giselle from the witch. I don't know if it's going to be that simple, but we'll find out together guys. So with that said, I hope you all continue to enjoy watching. Let's get started. Alright guys, we are continuing on. Alright, we're going to go down to the cellar. I descend the stairs, opening the cellar door. The first time I visited this room, the smell of blood from within was nearly suffocating. Now, the entire house reeks of it, and I start to go numb to the odor. There's no one here. Am I in the wrong place? I begin exploring the cellar, hoping to maybe find the key hidden away or abandoned somewhere. As I reach my hand out to investigate one area, a shadow leaps out of the thick darkness. It's so swift that I have no time to react. My body freezes in place. A shadow stands before me, holding the tip of the blade mere inches from my face. A key. You have a key. I do, yes. Cold sweat trickles down my back. My voice is shaking and there's no hiding it. The shade appears to be glaring at me, though I cannot make out its face. After a few seconds, it withdraws its blade. Let me see it. The boy's key. Did he give it to you? In the rose garden, yes. Are you two acquaintances? How could that be, though? You are from a completely different era and country. Who are you? No, never mind. Who you are is irrelevant to me. Are you human now? If you're speaking of my nature, then no is the only answer I can give you. You didn't kill me though. If you wanted to, you could easily skewer me where I stand. If that's what you want, I'd be happy to oblige. What did you come here for? For your key. I came to ask if you would give it to me. You mean to open that door? I need to get into the tower, yes. I see. Take it. Really? That's simple. I was expecting a... You know what? Whatever, I'm happy. The man's shadow tosses the key at my feet. I'm not quite sure what to think. I didn't expect him to give it up so readily. What? Take it. I won't stab you in the back while you're bending over. Well, I wasn't thinking that until now. I thought you were supposed to hold on to this at all costs. I no longer have any reason to guard that key. In the past, I might have severed your hand from your shoulders the moment you mentioned it, though. What point in the past? That's a question I wish I knew the answer to. Hey, do you know why I'm here? Where this place is? When it is? Why can't I get out of here? What's happened to me? Tell me. I have no idea what's going on. Not a single goddamn idea. Neither do I. Get out. Take the key and get out of here. Get out! I can't bring myself to say anything to the enraged shadow, so I follow his command, picking up the key and departing the cellar. I thought I was dead for a second. This makes two, though. What could have happened between these people? The painting mentioned a past with them, and Morgana spoke of the wicked men she cursed. Does that mean they did something awful enough to earn Morgana's spite? Right now, though, I must push onward. If I'm not mistaken, the final key should be in that room. The room with the billiards table. What is billiards, anyway? I should get moving. Once I have this key, I can get into the observation tower. I'm almost certain Morgana's waiting for me there. With Giselle. So I gather up my resolve and hurry to the last room, not wanting to take even a second longer than necessary getting her back. Sorry. I can hardly believe my eyes when I step into the den. In the middle of the room is a large rectangular table. Several balls roll across its surface and perched on one corner. Looking down at the floor is her. Giselle! Giselle! The question of why she's here never crosses my mind. All I feel is elation to see her once more. There's no room for anything else in my head. I run over to her, put my hand on her shoulder. Thank goodness you're alright! And turn her toward me. What? What? Giselle! Giselle! I shake her, causing her head to droop lifelessly. There's not a trace of light in her unmoving eyes. Why? Giselle? Why? Say something, Giselle. Say anything, please. This can't be. You can't be. You can't be. My mind goes blank. I can't catch my breath. The world is hazy. Why? Why is Giselle? Why did I have to find her like this? Why? I swore I would do anything. I swore I would never lose you again. No. This can't be. A thought crosses my dazed, despaired, wrought mind. It's probably nothing more than a vain hope, but... Not a drop of blood spilled from my breast. That's right, she doesn't bleed. So this can't be her. This isn't her. Or maybe Morgana has the power to alter Giselle's very nature, kill her with the flick of her wrist. No, I don't even want to think about it. There's no hope to be found down that path. All I can do is pray. Beg for her to still be alive. Or, if alive isn't the right word, herself. My prayers bring me back to reality. Which is when I realize... There's something hard pressed against the back of my head. I hear a harsh, metallic clink. What? No! Ah! A piercing bang rips through the air as I drop to the hard floor. My ears are ringing painfully. Through the cloud of smoke and confusion, I see a man's silhouette. Heh. Missed. It takes several moments for me to recognize the object in his hand as a gun. Not only because it's draped in shadow, but because I've never seen one with my own eyes. Had I not witnessed what they were capable of through the stories, I would not have understood how terrifying they were. Not a problem, though. I'll finish you with the next one. Now you hold still, boy. Start running around like a rat and I can't guarantee you're a painless death. Wait, hold on a second. What are you trying to kill me for? Because you make too much goddamn noise, that's why. Don't tell me. You're the one who... What? I turn my gaze toward the large table. Giselle isn't there. It must have been an illusion after all. The realization sends a wave of relief through me. I still have a gun in my face, though. Curious man you are. Does the table warrant your attention more than me? I have a request. Could you give me the key in your possession? That's all I need, and then I'll leave and stop making a racket. I'm not sure you understand your predicament, boy. Because if you think you're in any position to be asking favors, you're dumber than you look. Ha! First off, I don't even know what key you're talking about. I don't believe that. The other two had keys. You telling me they gave you their keys? It sounds like they really do know each other. See for yourself. I believe you should recognize these. Are you collecting them to enter the tower? Are you going to see Morgana? There seems to be a hint of tension in the man's voice. Though I can't see his face, I can sense the waves forming within him. I brace myself for either rejection or hot lead. But the apparition gives me neither. Take me with you. What? You have the other two keys, don't you? Then you can open the door. Bring me to the witch. Wait, slow down. What are you planning to do when you see her? What do you think? She has to... She has to... He's gone. She has to... What? What was he trying to say? I got the third key just like that? You know, I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more problematic, especially with Jacopo, but... Well, actually, I thought it was going to be more problematic with Yukimasa, but he just gave it to me like nothing. This guy just disappeared on me, and I ended up having the last one. On the floor where the shade stood is a new key. Curious though, I'm about his last words. This makes 3. I have all the keys now. Are you trying to rile me up, Morgana? Are you enjoying yourself up there, showing me these phantoms and watching me squirm? Just you wait, I'm on my way. I give the room a brief once-over before making my way back to the chapel. The keys fit perfectly in the openings on the lock, and when I insert the last one, it clicks open. The chain sealing the door falling to the floor. They're waiting beyond this door, at the top of the stairs. I start pondering what I can do in a face-off against Morgana, which sends a nervous shudder down my spine. I'm not going to back down regardless, but she is a witch, and I'm a mere human. Formerly human. I'm not a master swordsman, nor do I wield a gun. I have nothing at... Sorry guys. I have nothing at all with which to fight her. I still have to confront the witch though, no matter what. As laughably reckless, as foolish as I may be, I have no other option. I place my hand on the door, preparing to climb the tower where I once spent my last breath. Giselle locked safely away in a chamber at the top. The tower where I first met the witch. No hesitation. The sound of blood streaming down the stairs echoes off the stone walls. Although I have begun growing numb to the house's otherworldly ornamentation, the sight of seemingly endless river of blood flowing down the spiral staircase sends a chill through me. Every step I climb makes a splat noise. When I reach a window, I look out to see a churning reddish-black fog. Now this brings me back. You climbing these stairs alone, just like old times. Morgana. I waited so long for someone like you to show up. Someone with enough despair to resurrect me. Give her back. But now, I don't see it in you. I don't feel one bit of that intense hopelessness anymore. Give her back. And here I had thought we were cut from the same cloth. Morgana! Yes, I'll give her back. If you can make it to me without losing yourself. I will not give up. It doesn't matter what you do. Looking up, I can't see how far the stairs extend. It's just a gaping blackness, so I have no way of knowing for sure whether I'm getting any closer. Around and around, around and around, around and around. Beneath me, the blood river traces the same path in reverse. I start to wonder if the staircase even does end, if I'm not just eternally retracing my own steps. But I continue climbing regardless. It's all I can do. Put one foot in front of the other and hope I make it to the top. Morgana. What is this place? What did you do to it? What is it? Why, it's the mansion you lived in for a decade, of course. You look at this and tell me it's the same house? What's with the blood everywhere? And the 3 shadows? Now, my dear, no need to raise your voice. And you're being impolite, one question at a time. Answer me. What is this place? That's immaterial. Even if I were to give you an answer you found satisfying, what would that knowledge do for you? Your objective is to reach the top of these stairs and rescue Giselle. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that right? Or, by chance, have you taken an interest in me? despite never once asking me about myself before. See, that's also what I believe to be the reason why she's being very, petty, for lack of a more generous word for her. She is, a better word for that matter. Because I'm assuming that during the time she was with Mikkel, he never once spoke about her or connected with her, unlike what he did for Giselle, who was just this new girl that came into the mansion by chance. I wouldn't say by chance, but from his perspective, by chance at the time. So, I always wondered about that. I'm like, did he ever think to connect with the witch herself too? I think the witch is kind of jealous. My gut tells me that without knowing what this place is, without even the briefest glimpse at its nature, I won't be able to safely get her back. Without knowing what I'm up against, I don't stand a chance. Please tell me about this mansion, Morgana. About yourself. What are you, Morgana? A witch. No, that's not what I'm asking. Why do you have the powers you do? What are you? Yes, I get it. Humans feel the need to attach names to things and phenomena they don't understand. I understand that feeling very well, which is why I'm sure you'll be rather disappointed when I reveal the truth. What do you mean? What I mean is, I'm an ordinary human. That's not possible. You expect me to believe a human created this illusion? Then are you saying I'm a magician or a wizard like you might see in a fairy tale? I would believe that over you being human. Think back then, would you? Recall our time together. Did I ever once use magic? Did I control fire or wind? Did I create illusions? No, I did none of that. Because I could not. To you, when you were alive, I suppose you could say, I was not but a simple ghost. A rather mischievous but otherwise powerless spirit. And I was nothing more to those three men either. The witch Morgana was never anything but a wretched phantom haunting this old house. But then, how do you explain this? Mikkel, my dear, we're not the same beings we once were. We're different than we were in the realm of light, the era of the living. You figured that much out though, haven't you? That you're already dead? Yes, I know. I know I couldn't possibly be alive. Yet you still view this world through the lens of the living. You make no effort to see it as the land of the dead. Tell me, why would you think that the realm of the living and the dead are the same? Though the worlds behind each door were so vibrant, the mansion itself never had any color. They were the memories of the past, of the land of the living, of times forever lost to us. Our lives have already come to an end, my dear. Every last soul within these walls is dead. This is the world that lies beyond the end. It is my world. This is the afterlife. Why get caught up in the minutiae? None of us has a future, so what reason is there for you to desperately obsess over taking Giselle back? Just like you, she's long since dead. She's a walking corpse. It's nothing I didn't already know, but hearing her say it, it's like a kick to the gut. Dead or alive, she still lives on within this house, and my spirit found its way back too. Why then should I not wish for her to have a future, no matter what form it may take, no matter if my choice is to erase her from this world entirely? Having seen what lies beyond the door in her heart, what happened in those hundreds of years, I could never let her remain here with you, trapped in this world bereft of light, drifting aimlessly for all eternity. Haha, so determined you feel the need to raise your voice. But you're not going to budge on that point, I see. I ask you this again, Morgana. Please tell me about yourself. How did you become a witch? How did you end up attached to this house? I want to hear your story. You honestly want to know about me. I do now, yes. But not for me. For her, right? Don't be shy now. It's the truth, isn't it? Besides, if you did say it was for me, not her, I might die of laughter. As you wish. You have seen many tales of people's lives since arriving here, and now you shall see mine. Though I ask you this, will you writhe in despair with me? Will you endure maddening agony for me? Will you know pain enough to make you howl? Will you face despair again and again and again? As I said before, if that is what you want from me. Let me tell you something though, my dear. It will not be easy to watch as you imagine. Now that you've reclaimed yourself, you will be able to feel all my pain as if it were your own, to resonate with it. Resonate with it? You no longer have your little guardian with you either. My guardian? She was always protecting me. You'll have a wonderful time, I'm sure. It's a tale that could have only taken place in that era of miracles and spirituality. Wondrous and weird, senseless and stupid. Hopelessly tragic. Will you watch it with me? Oh, we're getting a bonus story, guys. We're getting the witch's story now. There's a seventh door. As soon as the final word leaves her mouth, I'm engulfed in darkness, not even given a moment to brace myself. The tower's stairs crumble beneath me. My feet have nowhere to go. As I'm being battered by the roaring blood river, my consciousness melds with another. Oh, what is that face? I carry within me the child of God. That is where it all began. The words of one foolish woman determined the course of my entire life. Before I was even born, my fate was decided. Did her claim come from faith? Was it her way of escaping reality? Did she do it for money or fame? I don't know. I had been visited by an angel of the Lord. The village where she lived had suffered from years of poor harvest. It has been months since the last rain, and all the villagers prayed desperately to be blessed with succor. Succor. I don't know how to pronounce that. I am with child, though I have known no man. So proclaimed the pregnant woman in the midst of the drought. And on the day of my birth, the very moment I let out my first cry, a heavy rain fell down upon the village. The storm quenched the parched earth, nourishing the crops and saving the village. The villagers were astounded, for they had thought the drought would never end. As plump drops of rain poured down upon the village, they gathered around newborn me in exultation. Ah, she is the child of God. Perhaps there would be more wonder in claiming I had magical powers. Perhaps it would make a better story if I were to say there were higher forces involved. But all these years later, here is what I truly think. It was nothing more than a fluke, an improbable stroke of luck, an unbelievably fortunate accident for my mother and the village, an indescribably unfortunate accident for myself. I am with child, though I have known no man? As if that's even possible. Maybe she had fooled around with a man who had gone and abandoned her, and she spouted those lies to convince herself it had never happened. None of the village men made any claim to be my father. Perhaps he was someone else's husband, and as such, he couldn't reveal himself, as adultery is a sin in the eyes of God. The girl they were praising as the child of God was indeed not more than an ordinary daughter of a wretched woman. At the time, though, I thought differently. I believed my mother's words, convinced I was a saint, and it gave me a sense of duty, of purpose, rather than superiority. As the daughter of God, I believed it was my responsibility to help anyone in need. So every day, I prayed. I asked my Father what I could do, what I was meant to do. Not everyone is equally good, however. There will always be someone who lends their ear to the devil's whispers. One man claimed I was the daughter of a charlatan. He shouted for all to hear, "If you really are the child of God, then perform a miracle for us." Could he have been any more unreasonable? Miracles are neither magic nor parlor tricks. They are realized through the power of faith. A lowly villager has no place demanding God prove his own divinity. I was going to say identity. It is the height of arrogance. But the man refused to heed my words. So, having no other choice, I contemplated what I could do to show him I was indeed a saint. And blood was the spark of my inspiration. Mikkel, the time when I lived and the time when you lived were not so different. Our views and beliefs about the world are very much the same. So you should understand that in our time, blood was seen as unclean. It was a dreadful thing ridden with diseases, which is why we drained the blood from animals and purified the flesh before consuming it. But being a saint, my blood would have been different. Like the blood of the saints who came before me, mine would be blessed. I believed it would be able to cleanse people's impurities. For my demonstration, I chose an elderly woman afflicted with a terrible disease. She was on her deathbed and no one thought she would live for longer than another day or two. The woman was overjoyed when I came to visit her. Sincerely believing me to be a holy servant of the Lord, she gathered all the strength she could muster to climb from her bed and kiss my feet. I felt an intensely deep love for this woman. Placing my hands upon her cheeks, I said with all the kindness in my heart, my beloved sister, partake of my blood. The woman agreed without a glimpse of hesitation, and so I pricked the tip of my finger with a knife and let the blood drip into her mouth. Within 3 days, her health had improved enough for her to get out of bed unassisted. Seeing that, no one in the village doubted my powers any longer. In fact, the man who had accused me of being the daughter of a charlatan was subsequently punished for his sins. He received much deserved retribution for challenging the daughter of God, for mocking her. But of course, being a saint, I forgave the man. He in turn repented and changed his ways, worshipping me as the true child of God. Now, I'll be honest with you. I was ecstatic, utterly elated. I felt like I was on top of the world and I reveled in it. The villagers showered me with adulation. They revered me, the daughter of God. Anyone who didn't was punished. And on top of that, my blood could cause miracles. Tell me, do you look down on me for feeling the way I did? The actual child of God would never let herself be consumed by such base emotions, would she? But if you would give me a chance, I would like to explain myself. I was but a young girl at the time, and to a child, her mother is the world. Anything she says is the absolute truth. So when my mother claims so happened to coincide with a lucky miracle, my young mind was set in stone. I was a saint. My blood could heal the sick, and nothing will convince me otherwise. After all, I was but a girl of 6 years old. It is not my place to decide whether my blood truly had miraculous powers or not. If you think it did, then it did. And if you think it was all happenstance, then so it was. Miracles are brought about by faith. So the elderly woman who was healed was done so by the power of her own belief. Baseless hope and desire can, at times, make the otherwise impossible a reality. You understand just how major a role religion played in our time, don't you, Mikhail? Especially as someone whose life was taken from him in the name of God. And you understand how powerful word of mouth can be as well, don't you? It didn't take long for the word of the miracle-performing child of God to spread. Travelers from faraway lands came to our village, all in search of aid. Driven by a mixture of elation and duty, I gave my blessings onto every pilgrim who sought them. I gave them my blood, yes. My young hands were perpetually covered in wounds. Running out of skin on my fingers, I cut the back of my hands, my palms, and my wrist. Before long, they had turned into swollen, carved-up black and red horrors, and so I kept them wrapped in cloth at all times. The only time I uncovered them was to give blood to those who sought it. My lacerated hands were in no uncertain terms gruesome and unsightly, but the believers who came to see me all wept at my selfless sacrifice. And so I came to cherish those wounds. There were some for whom no miracle took place, but whenever that would happen, the villagers would come out and say, "The daughter of God is not to blame. You simply lack sufficient faith." Thus, such incidents had no negative effect on my reputation as a saint. For 3 years, I continued doling out blessings. One day, while I was offering a prayer, my mother let slip her discontent. "Why must you hand out miracles for nothing? Why must you give strangers grace? We should be getting compensated. We deserve remuneration. If we charged just a little bit for each blessing, we could be living so much more comfortably." I was dumbfounded. How could the mother of a saint say such things? Helping people was my divine calling, and she expected repayment? I nearly wept hearing my mother preoccupied with such worldly desires. So I explained to her how important this work was. I taught her that we were not to covet material wealth, that we were to dedicate our lives to the service of our fellow man. "You're right, my dear saint," she said, understanding. And I believed her. I fell asleep that night convinced she truly understood and that there would be no more problems. But the next day, I was sold off. Men I had never seen before carried me by the arms and tossed me into a carriage. Confused and panicked, I stuck my head out searching for my mother. Off in the shadow of the house, I saw her with a strange man, accepting a bag of coins. Wow, this mom is something else, man. She sold off her own daughter. The carriage rocked back and forth as it rolled along a dirt road. Shaking and bouncing within it, I struggled with overwhelming grief and despair. It was perhaps the first time in my life I had felt such a powerful emotion. I didn't know what I felt so much despair over, though. Obviously, it was over my present predicament, but I wasn't sure what about it hurt the most. Was it that I had been pawned off like a slave? Was it that my mother, the mother of a saint, had been blinded by money? Was it that the villagers had watched in silence as a disciple of the Lord was thrown into a carriage? Or was it that I, a daughter of God, lamented my misfortune like a mortal? Excuse me, guys. I decided it was a trial. My father, the Lord God, was testing my worthiness of being his daughter. So I choked back my urge to cry and sat there in silent contemplation. For almost 3 weeks, I was rocked around in the carriage. The coachman treated me well enough, but I'm certain it was only because he didn't want his precious cargo dying before he could deliver it. He did not by any means think me the child of God. The 3rd week, the carriage arrived at the city. It was much larger than the village I had grown up in, with many, many more people crowding the streets. Something about them felt different too. They all spoke in a tongue foreign to me, which is when I realized I was far, far away from home. I was delivered to the lavishly decorated mansion of the region's lord. Brightly colored flowers bloomed wildly in the garden as guests laughed and ate extravagant meals. And in addition to them, there were probably 4 times as many slaves moving about the grounds. Getting a range of looks from everyone we passed, from smartly dressed men to scrawny, emaciated servants, I was led to the Lord's chambers. The Lord was surrounded by beautiful women. Perhaps they were slaves, or perhaps they were prostitutes. I couldn't tell. Among them were some girls hardly older than me. They all wore thin swathes of cloth, barely covering themselves at all. Alright guys, I'm going to have to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the witch's history and see how it connects to this whole situation we're in right now. So anyways guys, thank you again. Until the next one.